Most people believe the secret to saving money lies in exciting opportunities, the perfect investment, the next crypto boom, or a clever side hustle that suddenly multiplies income. But the strange truth is that the people who quietly save thousands of dollars every year usually aren't doing anything exciting at all. In fact, the habits that protect their money are often so boring that almost nobody talks about them. They're not glamorous, they don't feel revolutionary, and they definitely won't go viral on social media. Yet these simple routines consistently save people thousands of dollars over time. The real mystery isn't whether these habits work, it's so few people actually follow them. To understand that, we need to look at how modern economies evolved. Throughout the 20th century, especially after World War II, economic growth became heavily dependent on consumer spending. Businesses expanded, advertising exploded, and credit became widely available. The goal was simple: keep people buying. Credit cards, installment payments, and constant product upgrades became normal parts of daily life. Today, consumer spending drives a massive portion of national economies. In many countries, more than 60% of economic activity comes from consumers purchasing goods and services. This creates a strange environment where the system quietly encourages people to spend continuously, while the habits that actually build financial stability tend to involve spending less. That's why the behaviors that save the most money often feel uncomfortable or unpopular. They go against the cultural current. One of the most powerful but unsexy habits is simply delaying purchases. Modern retailers design their entire sales strategy around impulse buying. Flash sales, limited time deals, and countdown timers are meant to create urgency. When people feel they might miss out, they buy quickly without thinking deeply about the decision. But something fascinating happens when time is introduced into the process. If someone waits even 48 hours before making a non-essential purchase, the emotional excitement often fades. The item that felt necessary suddenly feels optional. This simple pause can eliminate many unnecessary purchases, saving hundreds or even thousands of dollars every year without dramatically changing someone's lifestyle. Another quiet financial advantage comes from automating savings. Many people attempt to save money at the end of the month after paying bills and expenses. The problem is that by the time spending is finished, very little may remain. People who successfully build savings often reverse this process. The moment income arrives, a portion is automatically transferred into savings or investments. This habit removes the need for daily discipline because the decision is made once and then repeated automatically. Over time, this simple system quietly builds a financial cushion that many people struggle to create manually. Lifestyle inflation is another hidden force that quietly destroys financial progress. When income increases, spending often increases alongside it. A raise at work may lead to a more expensive apartment, a newer car, or more frequent shopping. The result is that someone earning significantly more money may still feel financially stuck because their expenses rise at the same pace as their income. People who resist lifestyle inflation often maintain similar spending habits even when their earnings grow. Instead of expanding expenses, they allow the extra income to strengthen savings and investments. Over time, this creates a widening gap between income and spending that quietly builds financial security. Tracking spending is another habit that most people avoid because it feels tedious and restrictive. However, awareness alone can dramatically change behavior. When people clearly see where their money is going, patterns become impossible to ignore. Subscriptions that were forgotten, daily purchases that add up quickly, and recurring expenses that seem small, individually, suddenly become visible. The act of tracking doesn't necessarily force someone to cut everything out. Instead, it allows them to make more intentional choices. Even small adjustments can result in significant savings over the course of a year. Another overlooked habit is choosing reliability over novelty when buying products. Modern marketing constantly promotes the newest version of everything: new phones, new cars, new appliances, but reliability often matters far more than novelty. Durable products that last for years reduce replacement costs and repairs. Someone who buys dependable items rather than chasing trends often spends far less over time. This approach may not create excitement, but it quietly prevents large expenses that accumulate when people repeatedly replace items that fail quickly. Cooking at home is another classic example of a simple habit with massive financial impact. Eating at restaurants or ordering takeout regularly can cost 3 to 5 times more than preparing similar meals at home. Many people underestimate this difference because restaurant spending often occurs in small increments: a coffee here, quick lunch there, dinner out with friends. But when those purchases are added together over months and years, the numbers can be shocking. Preparing more meals at home doesn't feel revolutionary, yet it can easily save thousands of dollars annually. Using products for longer periods of time is another habit that quietly reduces spending. In a culture that encourages constant upgrading, many people replace phones, cars, and other possessions long before they actually need to. But extending the life of these items dramatically reduces the frequency of expensive replacements. Someone who keeps a phone for 5 years instead of upgrading every 2 years saves several purchase cycles. Someone who drives a reliable car for a decade instead of trading it in frequently avoids multiple rounds of depreciation and financing costs. Avoiding high-interest debt is another critical habit. Credit cards are among the most profitable financial tools ever created because it allows small purchases to turn into long-term debt when balances carry interest. A relatively small amount borrowed can grow significantly over time if interest accumulates month after month. People who treat credit cards purely as payment tools, paying the full balance each month, avoid this trap entirely. Instead of paying interest, they retain control of their money and allow their savings to grow rather than shrink. Buying used items when possible is another strategy that many financially careful people quietly rely on. Many products lose a large portion of their value immediately after purchase. Cars are one of the most obvious examples, but the same pattern applies to electronics, furniture, and many other goods. A slightly used item often provides nearly the same functionality as a new one, while costing dramatically less. Taking advantage of this depreciation allows buyers to avoid paying the highest prices while still enjoying the product's usefulness. Finally, one of the most powerful habits is ignoring status spending. Many purchases in modern life are not about practicality or usefulness, but about perception. Luxury brands, expensive fashion, and high-end gadgets often serve as signals meant to impress others. Social media has intensified this pressure by constantly displaying curated lifestyles that make expensive consumption appear normal. But people who quietly build financial stability often step away from this game. They stop buying things purely for appearance and focus on purchases that genuinely improve their lives. The reason many people struggle with these habits is not because they are complicated. In fact, they are remarkably simple. The challenge is that they go against the environment surrounding us. Advertising encourages constant upgrading, social media encourages comparison, and credit systems make it easy to spend money that hasn't been earned yet. Practicing financially healthy habits in this environment often feels like moving against the current, but that resistance is exactly why these habits are so effective. Over time, the results of these behaviors become clear. Each habit individually may only save small amounts, $20 here, $100 there. But when combined and repeated for years, the savings compound into significant financial advantages. 5 years of disciplined habits can produce thousands of dollars in extra savings. 10 years can create meaningful financial flexibility. Over decades, the gap between disciplined spending and careless spending can grow into a life-changing difference. The biggest takeaway is that wealth rarely comes from dramatic financial moves. Instead, it usually grows from consistent behavior repeated quietly over long periods. The second lesson is that small expenses matter far more than people realize when they accumulate over time. And the third lesson is that systems are more powerful than willpower. Automating good financial habits removes the need for constant self-control and allows progress to happen automatically. The real danger for many people isn't sudden financial disaster, but slow financial drift. Small increases in spending, unnoticed subscriptions, and rising lifestyle expectations can quietly trap someone in a cycle where income grows, but financial freedom never appears. The irony is that escaping that cycle rarely requires extreme sacrifice. Often it simply requires adopting a handful of boring habits and repeating them consistently over time. And while those habits may not look impressive, they can quietly save thousands of dollars and build the kind of financial stability that most people spend their entire lives chasing.